What a great fingle there to welcome us to the Hat Chat podcast. What episode number is it, Ross?
176.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been a little break.
It has been a little break, but don't worry. Let's reintroduce our voices.
Oh, yes.
I'm Chris Trott.
Hello, listener. I'm Ross Hornby.
And I join my platonic life partners. I'm Alex Smith.
Shit.
Nice.
I didn't realise it was platonic.
To us.
You didn't realise it was platonic?
I thought there was hope.
I thought it was just purely sexual. Only sexual.
Just been hanging around hoping.
I feel like, yeah, I've been friend zoned for a while, but there's still a glimmer.
Friend zone. 13 years of friend zone.
Climbing his way out of the friend zone with a pair of fucking ice axes.
So was there a point where you just gave up? Or do you?
I haven't given up yet, but now that Smith's introduced us as platonic, I feel like my hopes are dashed.
Well, there's always, when I eventually go mad or senile, you can try then.
Okay.
You've just got to outlast me.
Take advantage of his mad senile brain.
Yeah, and just be like, finally, and I'll be like, how did I ignore this all along?
Well, that's something we could explore.
He's told us right now, though.
In a Hat Chat today, but maybe not.
Whether you'll eventually break us. And then we'll have your
break and bang, I call it. It's my break and bang. Wow. Break and bang plan.
Help others get out of those friend zones with a...
Well, I have no advice
for you guys. A name needed workshopping. Break and bang.
Nah, we're just comfortably in that toxic masculinity of hyper straights so we can make lewd gay jokes about each other without it feeling like a threat.
You don't know. You don't know you're necessarily hyper straight.
Hyper straight.
I've watched enough. That's the word he used, not me.
I think
that is the word you
hyper
used.
straight. No, I've watched enough gay porn to know that it's not for me.
Wow. That's fair enough.
Fair enough.
I keep watching it, just trying to see if anything will happen. No, it's still not around. I mean, I'm impressed.
What about this decade? Nope, still no.
Still.
You guys spend your time doing some strange things.
Or watching lots and
exploring myself. I think that's quite a healthy thing to do.
I don't think watching loads of gay porn.
Why not?
I didn't say loads. Or did I say loads? I said enough.
Yeah. But you don't have to set up the whole Clockwork Orange peeper setup, do you?
One day.
Which you do. Goes home and goes, honey, can you put them on?
Can you tape my eyes up again? I need that surgical tape on my eyes.
Screaming in there. What's he doing?
Half chub.
He's watching gay porn to see if he gets aroused.
This is the first podcast in a couple of weeks now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And a viewer or listener might be like, "Oh, Hat Films," and then this is what they're listening to.
Sorry.
Immediately.
Are we really worried they're going to skip to 176 and then start making judgments?
This is probably our most interesting one yet.
That's crazy. But we've talked about all sorts of weird shit. I mean,
we have.
It's been a busy ourselves to watch gay porn just to see if we're gay. Isn't that bizarre?
Well, not forced, just like.
Well, no.
Why not?
Just watching it to see. Do you also use the little string around the tip of your penis?
String?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
See if you're getting gorged.
All I can think of is
how does that help you know?
Because it's a test, isn't it?
Feel the tension.
It's like, is that proof?
Why? Surely you could just see.
What if you shuffle in your chair and that was enough?
What do you mean? Sorry, do you set the loop to a certain size?
Well, so this is what happened. So this was a Louis Theroux thing, where there was a test where they were just checking to see if people got aroused by certain content, and they put a little loop around their penis.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's a test.
And they looked for it to start to dig into the meat.
I don't know. I think they just giggled the line until something happened.
Are they waiting for it
to on the line? Come on, wiggle.
That might be enough, That might be enough stimulation to be like, oh no, I've correlated that with whatever I'm watching.
Exactly. I just get aroused by small, tiny bits of string around my penis.
The
whole test is void.
I got a string kink.
Anyway, yeah, and it has been a couple of weeks. Apologies for that.
I know what you guys have been doing in those 2 weeks.
Well, yeah. Giggling. We're giggling each other to death.
Giggling with twine.
Giggling with twine with Hat Films. But in private.
No, it's been busy. Most recently, I've been in the Adelphi West End.
Oh, yeah.
Just to big myself up a little bit.
Just booked out a theatre just for you.
Booked out a theatre, packed crowd just to see me.
He giggled his dick.
And I giggled my dick with twine for 3 hours. And you'd think that there wouldn't be enough attention there. Well, I mean, there's the content.
There are puppetry of the penis shows. If anything, that's perfect for it.
But to sell out at the West End to do that, I mean, that's impressive, right?
Yeah.
Depends. Do you giggle it yourself, or do you have like a very long line to like a person up someone at the top on
In the
rafters,
in the
just
rafters.
giggling away?
A key grip.
Come on, yeah. You're there just like doing some dance moves whilst this thing's giggling around. Your
Independent.
penis is just moving around like a fucking Kermit the Frog.
It's like a pigeon's head. It's like independent movement of my body. So
I really enjoyed the show, but I did think the snake charmer appropriation was a bridge too far.
you didn't like the costume I put on?
No, the costume got real racist, and then you got that weird pipe, and then somebody off screen.
Was it the tan as well?
Yeah, it was the tan. It was the boot polish.
You actually went there though, didn't you?
I did actually.
Regardless
go
of
there,
the penis jokes.
I did actually go there just to say, I didn't giggle my penis for 3 hours.
Good. It's good to know. It's good to know you didn't.
It was for high rollers, and we did a Delphi live show. Delphi's, one of those classic quintessential theatres.
The name's losing all meaning the more you say it.
Adelphia,
Philadelphia.
Really old school theatre.
Philadelphia cream cheese.
Philadelphia cream cheese venue, which has, those 3 tiers of theatre seats.
Oh, why were they upset?
Huh?
Sorry. God, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Some of them were crying. Some people cried.
Yeah, I was like, I finally saw you in real life. Jesus, he's nothing like I imagined him to be.
He looks so old.
But ultimately, in those kind of scenarios where you walk out and there's like just a huge audience, just full disassociation.
What do you mean?
You felt like you were steering your body from that point on.
From that point on, I was just the jester.
You were the alien.
I'm just a character now.
You feel like Donald Trump.
Oh, right.
You remember?
Disassociate from everything.
Do you remember knowing that you had to do a presentation in school or college or uni? The anxiety. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, all of my classmates and everything are going to watch me give a speech. I'm going to break.
The main reason I felt like that, though, was because I didn't know what I was talking about. Whereas I feel like when we've done any show, obviously I don't know if we've done anything of that scale, but we've had shows before where we've been in front. I should say that probably the biggest one was Minecon.
Yeah.
And no, it did feel fucking daunting, but at the same time, it's like, well, you're there doing stuff
that's the thing.
They know you for. So
I was talking to my therapist about it. It's like we're performers now, and anytime I go in front of an audience, I just don't feel like I'm me anymore. I'm just like putting on a persona, and that's way more comfortable. I can just be larger than life, and that's probably how we cope with the inverse thing of like, oh my God, I'm in front of an audience. Oh my God, I'm gonna have a panic attack and die on stage. I don't know what to speak. I don't know how to speak. I'm gonna stutter on my words. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
None of that ever comes into my brain anymore. It's just
yeah, I think
noise.
I think it would be weird. I mean, obviously, we don't perform in front of live audiences all the
You
time.
don't giggle?
We are. I'm giggling.
I mean, we're performing in front of a live audience right now.
I know we are, but like, it's not the same as like actually looking at them.
If I had to look at them, it has some analogs. I mean,
True.
like, as in, like, the way you perform live right now will reflect on your future earnings. Like, I know what you mean. It's not the same intimidation factor, perhaps, because
the physical presence of people.
But you still have to, like, put on that mask.
Yeah. You need to be
present yourself on a live stream, right?
Yeah. Is the term, I believe.
Or even in just like a work meeting or a Discord call or anything like that. You do a degree of that.
Don't giggle in front of your nan.
Do you think that you coming out there and disassociating is a good or a bad thing, Trott?
It's a cope, isn't it? It's a copium. But the only downside is I'm not really absorbing the emotion of the audience. It was noticeable that other members of High Rollers were very much like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, all these people are so excited to see us, and they're able to absorb that emotion in the moment. Whereas for me, I'm like...
Do you feel like, so how did you feel doing Dead Nuts? Obviously, it was only like...
Dead Nuts, I felt...
there was less people, but like...
Again,
it was still a packed crowd.
That's even more performative.
That's more performative. You've actually got to perform an actual music.
But I was just... I was like... Little Nut. I was a guy. I was a character that's like gonna give everything to be the best performance on stage. It's not Chris Trott underneath that is like, oh my, I can't believe there's an 800 capacity crowd like so excited to watch the Dead Nuts. It just doesn't process or pass. And I'm like, I know, as a matter of fact, that's incredible. It's awesome. I'm telling everyone that was a milestone, really cool. But like, it's just not. I don't know. This isn't therapy. I don't want to talk to you guys about this. But yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I mean, it's interesting.
Thought experiment.
Your
Yeah,
perspective.
yeah,
Obviously,
your
we
point
all
of view.
have the same view of it to some extent as our audience of you. You know, and to me, it seems like you do enjoy the
Performative.
the environment. Yeah,
I like being the
but
jester.
if it's just like you having to.
You did grey
put
up
that
though.
on. You're doing a good job of acting about it. Huh?
You grade up,
I was fully
which
light
arguably
grey.
is pretty.
I did
racist
that for that
all
Star
those
Wars
grey
thing.
people
Was it
out
the
there.
same as that? Same kind of color?
You
Well,
did,
I
yeah.
became
Oh, yeah,
the
you did,
yeah.
shittiest android.
Similar,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
as shiny.
Right.
No, you were very
You were shiny.
extra shiny. Yeah, that was. No
Yeah.
one's ever seen that one either. So
No,
maybe
unless
some
you.
photos, but the behind the scenes in vlogs.
There was some Instagrams and stuff like that. Yeah, and some vlogs.
Needless to say, everybody else had movie quality costumes, and I had a Halloween costume. And like the most extensive face paint, which did nothing to make me
I
look
think
like an
they're all
android. It just made me
movie
look kind of crazy.
You look like a shitty sci-fi version of the Tin Man from Wizard of
Yeah,
Oz.
yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't fit with the Star Wars aesthetic at all. Like, there's nobody really like that in Star
Was your
Wars.
makeup super carcinogenic as well, or
Fuck
apparently like Wizard of Oz
Asbestos.
was there was
And lead
asbestos
paint.
snow and shit like
They had lead makeup. The
Yeah.
witch, the Wicked Witch, all that grey makeup was lead based, and she had a lot of lung problems after that,
Great.
and died young. So
Fuck. You know, I hope none of that.
It's a costly production.
we got
Speaking of costly production, an ex-Bristol City player has been arrested for trying to import 600 kilograms of cannabis. Wait, that's not right.
It's costly.
100,000 pounds, 600,000 pounds worth of cannabis.
600,000.
I'll get there eventually. 600,000 pounds worth of cannabis has
Okay.
been legally imported to this country. Outrageous.
Where can I
Um,
avoid it?
It's in an airport police station now, I'm sure.
Oh, bugger.
But-
So they're all getting
How do
high.
you try and get it in?
So he was playing football in Thailand.
There's only so much you can fit up your ass.
Well, he brought it in 2 suitcases. It's just,
Just in suitcases.
just in fucking suitcases.
checked luggage.
Checked luggage
This
on a
smells
flight from
quite
Thailand.
Peculiar.
600,000 worth. An ex-Arsenal striker.
No, not Arsenal.
Not Arsenal, not this. Now he's 33. so
Not
it's
the Gunners.
past his prime.
Is it the Gunners?
I think it is the Gunners, yeah. Obviously he's Arsenal.
Now they're
It's a place
gunning for
where
him.
you store weapons and explosives, right?
Yeah, an Arsenal.
I guess
yeah.
he wasn't paid very well at his job.
Well,
They had to start taking on huge.
Or maybe
drug
his
deals.
job opened up some doors.
it's very
Yeah.
boom and bust, isn't it?
I guess
the
so.
life of a sports person.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it
£600,000
Retired by 30.
seized at Stansted Airport.
How much do you think, like, if we were to base that on buying, is that based on the consumer level buying
Street
cannabis?
value.
That's
Street
probably
value.
the street value.
Yeah,
Like
they
they're
always do-
always gonna,
It's always inflated, isn't it?
yeah, because they want to fucking.
So if they were to
headline.
lay that out on the table, how many bricks of cannabis is that?
It was 60 kilograms of cannabis,
That's quite a lot.
almost as much as they tried to smuggle you, cut in two over 2 suitcases, Trot, and they didn't succeed.
Fucking hell, that's a lot of cannabis. That's a lot.
Yeah,
And like
And you thought
the
you'd get away with
smallest
that?
amount is quite pungent. So I mean, obviously, one tiny hole in that you'd smell.
I gotta say, I've never smelt cannabis. Oh wait, not cannabis. I'm thinking
it's
of
like you've never
cocaine.
been to France.
I was thinking this entire time. I was thinking cocaine.
Videos of us in
You,
America.
I think you thought, yeah,
I was
cocaine.
I was thinking of cocaine.
That
Sorry,
would be a lot more money. if that was
weed.
60
Yeah,
kg
weed
of
is
cocaine.
very different. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Anyways, he going to prison? What's his deal?
I don't know.
They just said, "Oh, we caught him."
Well, I mean, if
What
it's like the
next?
first time offence, if it's just, they might give him a suspended sentence.
Do you reckon?
Oh yeah.
That's massive. It's not like a small amount where it's like, "Oh, you just had enough for you, did you?"
So
Okay, brilliant.
possession with intent to supply is obviously a much worse crime than personal use.
It's hard to disprove that he didn't intend to supply that amount.
Well, it is.
Personal use.
Yeah, it's too much to be considered personal use. So, but
60 kilograms. Like, yeah.
but the guideline for possession, a lot of first-time drug dealers will not go to prison. It's too expensive, and we've got no space. So many criminals.
That is
you'd
a worry,
think-
though, isn't it?
What?
That there's not enough space.
It is
for
worry.
criminals now.
Well, yeah.
We'll turn fields into prisons. Easy.
We've only got 89,000 prison places. That's not very many, is it? When you consider we've got a country of 60 million. 89,000 of which we can hold at any one time in terrible conditions.
How do we solve that problem?
Build
right now.
more prisons. In the
Build
short term,
Build more prisons.
is my opinion.
Build
Fair.
more prisons,
But
that's fine.
obviously, crime is a systemic issue, etc., etc. It's very, very complicated. But for the short term, if you want to get dangerous people away from the general populace, you can build more prisons quite
But I'd
quick.
imagine that this latest stuff where they've released people early will now encourage more people to commit petty crime.
Well, obviously, you could make some really easy moves like decriminalize drugs and treat it as a mental health issue. You'd have to invest massively in mental health as well. But I think most people, including most cops I've spoken to, are in favor of decriminalizing drugs.
So what's the
Because
big stumbling block? Why are we not progressing like other countries?
What other countries?
Like America?
What do you mean by progressing?
Like legalizing weed?
Just weed is a different thing. I mean, weed's kind of like just been treated like alcohol now in the States. It's not really the same approach. Like, I think decriminalization of like weed possession is not the thing that's causing the big issues in the country. It's organized crime around serious drugs, and then you're going to have things like fentanyl and nitazines coming into the country, and they're going to be killing people a lot.
Which country decriminalized all drugs as an experiment?
Is it Portugal?
Well, Portugal has
Portugal.
decriminalized drugs. The thing is, like, it's about you can decriminalize different aspects of it, right? So you decriminalize possession. So if you like, but I think Portugal probably still has laws in place that tries to, dissuade people from supplying large quantities of illegal drugs. So not illegal, but like large quantities of heroin. If you're trying to supply it, I imagine they might have had details there. But essentially, it's just about decriminalizing individual possession of drugs, because just banging up a heroin addict is not doing anything. And again, ask a cop what they think about putting a heroin addict in prison for 4 weeks and then releasing them again back into the world with no support structure. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to have to bang them up again for another 4 weeks, and it's going to cost us all lots of money, and nothing changes. So yeah, it's
not working. Yeah,
that's part of it.
Yeah, it's annoying.
But anyway, I'm not well read enough. But we sort of just dropped into that because we were talking about it before we started, and about how, a bit tricky. Bristol especially, obviously, we've got a lot of homeless people about at the moment, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got a few.
We've got a few.
Got a handful. Yeah.
Cosy lives and all that.
Do you step directly on them, or do you step over them?
I don't know.
I cycle on them. No.
Yeah, well, you can't avoid it because nobody knows how to use the cycle lanes or
nobody
the
knows how to
in
use
Bristol.
cycle lanes, and we have covered this before, but it's still a thing. It's still an issue.
Well, there's certain areas of Bristol where they've tried to make it aesthetically pleasing to have a cycle lane that looks very similar to the pedestrian lane in terms of like the tiles and on the floor are the same color. There's just this little like humpy texture in between. Like on Queen Square, for example, and around the area of the Hippodrome, they've got like these pathways which people just drift in and out of.
And I think tourists aren't aware of what they are either, so they walk in them like they're normal footpaths.
And there's constant like dinging.
And walking past that is kind of really infuriating because obviously you don't want to be the one to go, hey, everybody, just let's all move over here because
should we do it? I honestly, now
spend a day
I'd love to
that.
do another bus ad.
Oh yeah.
Where we're just like,
now we're actually just
people
guiding
of Bristol,
people.
please stay out of cycle lanes.
We could speak to the council. Maybe they'll actually help fund some of it.
Yeah.
Although I think they're.
But then we'd have to involve them, and then we'd have to go through press guidelines. I say just fucking, hey, cycle lanes are for bikes.
Take matters into our own hands.
What do you think?
Who's the real psychopath? And then do the joke in it.
Nice.
Yeah. Don't be a psychopath.
Don't be a psychopath.
Would you allow mopeds on the
Use the psychopath.
No.
Because that seems to happen everywhere else.
Yeah, they're trying to skip through because obviously it's quicker. I see them walking the bikes on public pathways a lot just to get to another side of the road because of the one-way system.
I feel for them because some of the road systems in this city are a fucking nightmare.
If you follow it in the one-ways, you're adding like 20 minutes to your journey. It's silly. But
so we all ignore them. That's why I've got a hovercraft.
Oh yeah.
Imagine how useful that could be. And how easy they are to drive.
The personal drone things.
Personal drone.
The Iron Man jetpack thing.
Oh shit, talking about shit technology. Have you seen that fucking Snapchat glasses, whatever they are?
Oh yeah, they look even worse than
I don't know if you can bring them up, Trott. Yeah, basically it's just Snapchat.
They're AR though, aren't they?
They are AR, so let me bring up some... I mean, I just thought of that on the top of my head. I haven't got an article ready, but basically they've released... Well, I don't know if they've released them for everyone to download or whatever. They're called Spectacles, which is already that name already exists. Let's see what this article says. So it's Snap's 5th generation Spectacles.
Is it on your screen?
More immersive display. I can make it full screen. Here it is. Using them feels snappy. They last longer. Sorry, should we just zoom in on the picture?
Holy shit, they look awful.
bad.
So for audio listeners, it's like...
Oh, man. 3D glasses. Imagine 3D glasses you get given when you used to go to 3D films.
And now imagine the arms
bigger.
are 3 times as tall and twice as
It's
thick.
so thick and chunky.
It's so thick. It's like such an alpha product.
It's like if you got some Lego glasses and scaled them up.
And then
silly.
also the actual hole where the lenses are is quite narrow and small as well. So the lenses themselves
Absurd.
are on the smaller size, and the frames look about 3 or 4 times as thick as they need to be. The arms have what I'm presuming is the batteries.
That's
in
where
them,
the batteries, and I
which
guess
look about the same
processors
size
are
as
in
a
them
large
well.
set of car keys.
They look chunky, and you wouldn't want to be seen wearing them.
What do they do?
Okay, let's have a look.
Yeah, they better do something really special for the size alone.
So these new spectacles announced on Tuesday at the annual Partner Summit in LA aren't being sold. Instead, Snap is repeating its playbook for the last version of spectacles in 21, distributing them to the people who make AR lenses for Snapchat. This time around, though, there's an extra hurdle. You have to apply for access through Lens Studio, the company's desktop tool for creating AR software, and pay $99 a month to rent a pair for 1 year. So I'm guessing these are still
developer glasses.
glasses. So like
Prototypes.
we can slag them off, but like I guess it's you've got a stepping stone from somewhere, but they look shit. So
That's instantly bad press, isn't it?
yeah, I suppose so.
The
'cause,
fact
like,
that these dev units are being shown on an article like this,
yeah,
we're already laughing at
Yeah.
it, and they've now got an uphill battle to try and win us over.
yeah. I mean, it's different. I mean, remember the dev units for like Xbox? They were just giant boxes. Oh, they're just PCs.
Yeah, but you don't really see them
You
until
didn't
they're
really see
out.
them, yeah.
So yeah,
It's a bit hard to.
and it's so
slag it off
important for
entirely.
wearables to be physically good looking.
Well, yeah, I guess when you consider the Meta sunglasses, the Ray-Ban thing, they are
Yeah, they're really well done.
subtle, but obviously the technology in them is limited.
yeah,
It is basically just a camera, which is a useful feature.
yeah,
But what you really want is heads-up display, right? Which I think that this is what they're stepping towards.
right.
Actually
They are making
having
that leap.
visuals through the lenses you're looking through, which would be really cool. I personally would want to try something like that.
I picture Meta getting there first. Better. Meta will be better.
will be
Considering
better.
they're already ahead.
Well, I didn't even know is Snapchat still used as like where would that be on the scale of like social medias? Is it? Are we just
Good
too
question.
old for it?
I don't know, or are we just not part of it?
I don't know.
Snapchat daily active users. Let's see. As of August 2024, there are 432 million daily active users. So let's compare that to, say, Twitter, which I'm never going to call. 251 million. What? So there's almost double on Snapchat, according to...
Shit.
There's a lot of Zoomers on there, isn't there?
Zoomer, yeah. I imagine
People
so.
in their like 20s now still use Snapchat a fair bit.
That's crazy. And apparently the demographics, 38.1% of Snapchat users are 18 to 24. So it skews a little higher, if anything.
So the product here, it says, first thing that stands out when you put the new spectacles on is the improved display quality and interface. If colors were richer and high resolution, the Snap OS powering the glasses has been completely redone. I didn't realize, I wasn't aware of previous glasses, were you? We may have mentioned it somewhere.
Well, they had the Snapchat like just video glasses, but
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you
those
could
ones they were
just-
handing out. I
a
thought they
bit
were
like
just
the
the same as the
Ray-Bans. I don't think they
Ray-Bans.
come out as
Yeah.
AR though. So these clearly have some sort of overlay system.
Well, this one boasts a 46-degree field of view,
That's pretty
which
narrow.
doesn't sound.
I wouldn't boast about it.
That sounds like tunnel vision.
That's not a boast-worthy thing, is it?
But again,
I appreciate it's difficult to get field of view and augmented reality displays, but that is fucking nothing.
but it has like hand tracking and voice control.
We've
So I
almost
guess-
got 180 field of vision, and to have 46% of that, that's gonna be noticeable.
Don't boast.
That's not a boast-worthy.
Don't use the word boast.
But that's up from 26.3 degrees from the previous version.
Well, if they can keep doubling,
What was that? Just you are literally looking into a fucking.
it's like HoloLens, where it's like a tiny square.
It's like using a periscope that doesn't raise the height of your
Yeah.
view.
But I mean, we are making fun of it. But again, stuff it has to start somewhere, doesn't it? And that's
It
obviously
does.
26.3 degrees up from the last one, which
I
is
think
quite a big
wearables
improvement.
are gonna be the thing that makes AR VR a viable daily use thing, rather than just a
Yeah.
gimmick.
Well, that's it. If you can bring your phone up without having to lift your hands or anything, and you can just kind of have a heads-up display on things, that'd be pretty cool.
I'd say
this gives you 45 minutes of action, so that's how long that'll last.
Baby.
I think the Meta Ray-Bans were the big swing in my view of wearable devices that are smart, because I really thought getting that would be a fun gimmick for hat films to mess about with in Vegas. Turns out it actually is well made and has some quality, good use cases.
Everyone I showed that to has been impressed by it, or at least seen a use case that they could use it for themselves. Like my brother.
It's like, oh, pervert! I wouldn't have known.
Yeah. You fucking.
What's that light? What's that? Oh, you filming me?
What? No. You don't understand. Come back. Let me explain. The light needs to be up. Okay.
Whatever.
But no, my brother was saying how good it would be, when he's got his hands filled with his kids and stuff, he'd like to take photos and just,
the hands-free thing is the big useful one. Like, you don't notice, like, obviously, you just whip out your phone and start filming, but there's the element of having your hands free, so it's not like, the phone's not in the way anymore. You can still do the thing that you were doing, and the filming is not the priority anymore. It's cool. I like it, and I'm looking forward to their next version.
But yeah, it seems like this is mainly the use case is kind of like interfacing things that aren't really there. So literally a heads-up display.
Is it like mapping stuff into the real world, or is it just like an overlay?
The visual examples seem to show things like
is there any
using a phone.
Any?
Well, there's one on this web page here showing
can you full
that
screen it or no?
I don't think this is allowing me to. There we go.
Oh.
So
it's like
they're like
Apple
flicking
Vision
through their
Pro.
own phone, or like the Apple Vision Pro, but obviously like a simpler
in glasses
version.
format,
and being able to see the surroundings around you. But the person reviewing this said because of the narrow field of view, it does make it extremely limiting, and you are wearing 230 gram glasses on your face still.
Yeah.
So it's probably an improvement on the. I don't really think
more comfortable
much,
to use a monitor still. Basically,
yeah, and obviously probably easier just to flick out your phone as it is.
That looks annoying to use.
What we're seeing now is somebody kind of scrolling up and down with their hand, and I guess again, all of these things would take a long time to get to the right point, right?
Competition's a good thing.
Yeah.
It drives all the other ones to do a bit better, so I think that's fine, and they're all going to have AI involved, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think
that's unavoidable.
What happened to the HoloLens? Is that still a thing that's being developed for consumers, or is it like a tech demo right now?
Constant money hole R&D.
Yeah. I think they actually were they're shelving it or something. I feel like, let me have a look at I saw some news about it recently.
Gaming is like where these things will really shine as well. I think obviously productivity is important, and if you can whack these on and kind of go to a meeting without looking like a crazy Poindexter.
Yeah, just
HoloLens might lose its largest partner.
Oh, I found some shitty news about
$22 billion IVAS US Army contract. I was about to say, this is where
military.
I think they've gone with it instead, is that they were using it to create a new battlefield awareness system, as they called it.
That's where the money is, isn't it? That's where.
Well,
the money is.
If they can make it work. Problem is, right, with a lot of this forces and tech stuff, new forces and tech. First of all, one of the golden rules with new equipment coming into any modern military force is the deal usually goes to whichever contractor can do it the cheapest, right? So you get all your tanks made by some contractor that's offered to do it super cheap, and then you just hope that all your troops are able to fix it when it inevitably fucks up. The same with this sort of stuff. It's so high end, so high tech that conceptually somebody like Microsoft might be good to develop it, but ideally they'd want a different manufacturer to come in and make it for them mega cheap, because fancy, delicate shit is really hard to put through the military pipeline without it getting fucked up.
This
broken.
is a Steam Deck, am I right?
Unless it's a Steam Deck, which is just an open source device which can be used to control remote turrets. I've just put in Just Hats an image of the HoloLens IVAS system.
I'll have a look at that in a moment.
Anyway, talking about developments and things that do you see that there's a sequel for The Passion of the Christ happening?
Oh my god.
Which
more passionate.
Finally. I actually do remember more of that film than I care to. I went to see it and I came out of that and I was like, to be fair, that was pretty intense.
That looks. I'm looking at the.
I can't remember
picture,
it now.
by the way, of the HoloLens prototype for military. That looks nuts.
It's cool, isn't it? I mean, basically, you can get thermal night vision, and also like target outlining, as well as live feeds and information from your command units.
A full-on heads-up display for a soldier sounds fucking like the video game level quality, but also at the same time accuracy and like detailed on-the-fly information straight in your eyes would be an advantage.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think a lot of those kind of things are only going to get used at the very highest bespoke level, that special forces.
Captain Goggles.
Yeah.
At the front.
And at that point, they're also the kind of people that can go, if they don't feel like it would actually help them fight, if they're like, oh, this is actually going to make our odds worse, they just won't use them.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why a lot of it takes ages to actually get
deployed. Probably a comms guy.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, Goggles.
Hey, Glass.
Lieutenant Goggles.
Hey, 8 Eyes.
Quick, I just got 30 minutes of battery. Quick, what you want?
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's interesting.
I'm running low on battery. Shit.
I don't think anyone...
It's new tech.
New tech.
It's only got an 8-minute battery life. I need to change all of the D cells. It's like an old boom box.
Yeah.
You guys got like $45 for batteries?
Is there a fucking corner shop nearby anywhere?
Fuck me, they're so heavy. They've only got 3. It's all right. We'll use some of the dead ones. All right, I got 3 more minutes to breach this room. Let's go. There's actually some interesting footage out there of people buying cheap AliExpress style thermal optics and overlaying those over cheap AliExpress night vision optics and using them to fight the war in Ukraine. So people are over there just using whatever they can get their fucking hands on. So like the idea that these super complex systems are being developed, and I don't know, I think war moves too quickly sometimes for it to be nuanced enough, it seems.
But at the same time, war never changes.
Exactly.
Or does it? I mean, the recent news is pretty crazy as well, as in technology.
Passion of the Christ 2. Sorry.
Not Passion of the Christ 2.
Circling back around to that.
Circling back to Passion of the Christ 2, of course, which is life-changing. Well, no, just like being like the fucking all these pages and stuff going off. Obviously, it's not, that's not funny news in that sense. But
I mean, it's crazy.
It is sci-fi film level, like, we should all be aware of.
Do you want to provide some context to that story?
So there was, well, maybe I should find an actual article on it rather than just, off the top of my head.
Top of the dome.
Let's put in pages, which are being used all over the world anyway, still, because apparently it's a more reliable signal.
Well, pages are less easy to hack as well.
But supposedly a load have been modified to hold explosives in them, which sounds genuinely like some sort of fucking Bond film. And they were all detonated at once 2 days ago.
They were all distributed to a certain group of people.
Was it Hezbollah? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
And were detonated as a...
Which is kind of scary in the sense that it now makes you question all the technology around you and like how much power that could have, or whether
I don't think Mossad's putting bombs in your pay.
I'm sure they're not, but like it's one of those things which would definitely raise the question of is it the technology itself, or is obviously this stuff.
Well, initially I think people thought, when I heard this happened, I was like, holy shit, they've broadcast some sort of signal. They found an exploit with these pages that makes them overload their batteries, because obviously in the right conditions, lithium batteries can make a really big mess of your leg and of
it's just an insanely hot immediate fire,
and the gas is really, really bad for you as well that it generates. But what happened here is they targeted people that they thought were using these pages for
they were modified though,
war. And they had explosive cells put in them, and they all went off at the same time. Then a day or two later, a load of walkie-talkies had the same thing, and they all blew up as well.
Maybe did they predict that, like, fuck, these pages have been exploded, let's stop using pages and move to walkie-talkies? Do you reckon they were ahead of that? And we're like, yeah, here's the walkie-talkies.
Probably.
Boom.
It's crazy. Fucking devious.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a kind of unsure of what's exactly exploding. Because some people were saying solar panels were also exploding as well, which aren't necessarily I mean... Who knew?
Well, solar panels as well. Off-grid.
God,
I saw some crazy footage of people fighting in. It might have been Myanmar, it might have been Pakistan or something like that. But they were on top of some sort of temple, right? Mm-hmm. With all these like blue spires and tops and things like that, and it literally looked like Far Cry, like some sort of Far Cry game. They're fighting from position to position on this rooftop, and then they get up to the center of this rooftop. and lo and behold, there's this big like pylon with these really like modern looking panels facing outwards, solar panels and battery systems, much like the ones that we've used for camping and stuff, surrounding these pylons. And DJI make an anti-drone pylon system. I can't remember what it's called, but it's called like DJI Drone Spotter or something like that. But basically, you can create areas. It's for companies like, airports and things like that want to create dead zones where you can't fly DJI drones. And they were just powering one of these up on the top of this temple that we're using as an HQ to stop the enemy from observing them using drones. It's just like, this shit is wild. Like, how the fuck do people think of all these things in these games like 15 years ago? Because it's exactly like that now. They're fighting on top of a goddamn beautiful temple. There's a DJI mast there stopping drone from it. And it's all recorded on GoPro.
So it was a theory that people were discovering that these pages might have been rigged, and then once they discovered that was an issue, then they probably just wiped them all out at once.
Yeah.
But wasn't it like 3,000? That's a crazy amount.
Was it? I heard only like 9 people were killed.
No, 3,000 devices. Yeah.
Wow.
But obviously I don't know how big those explosives are, but fucking hell.
Yeah.
That is a crazy kind of. It does feel video game level, doesn't it?
Reality we're living in, yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that's not something that can be
Wild.
transferable to everyday products, but yeah.
Pocket bomb. It's the bomb in your pocket. Keep upgrading or we'll blow it up.
New from Wish or whatever the new one is. Temu.
I think Temu's taken over the US, but not so much in the UK.
I wouldn't trust anything about these websites to be high quality. Are there? Is that a really
I think
thing to say? I just feel like
majority of it is shit or dropship stuff, which is crap.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're getting, and it doesn't pass any sort of quality control. Straight from the warehouses for places. I think AliExpress has got a little bit more credibility to it because it's the oldest internet marketplace.
Yeah.
And I often get some tech stuff for my 3D printer from there, just because it's accessible and certain things.
I don't know. I still have boomer level kind of opinions on eBay as well. I just don't trust people.
eBay's really good for secondhand technology.
Yeah, but it's the people I just don't trust because I've been burnt before.
Oh yeah, you run
and
that
so
risk.
you then think, oh fuck, like.
Yeah, you run that.
Not physically, of course, but just in terms of something didn't arrive or something was broken when it arrived. It's just like, oh fuck, okay. Yeah, so, but I guess that can happen from any company, but it's just about this individual based, like some person sold something to you.
Yeah, I mean, you just run that risk. You have to hope that the platform that they're selling it on has good control in terms of reviews are legitimate, etc., which I'm sure is all forged. And Amazon,
it's goddamn Wild West, and they don't.
No.
Anything you get from there, you just gotta hope for the best. If you find a legitimate seller that provides a product you like, lucky you, use them. That I think that's all, because there isn't enough. There isn't the Temu problem that I spoke about. There's a good little mini documentary about it. That is just Wild West shit. If you get a bad product or if you want something changed or whatever, eventually if they get too many of those complaints and it starts to reflect on their user account on the website, they'll just start another one, ghost some reviews up, and bam, they're back in business. There is no consumer protection and recourse for you using those services.
Yeah.
That's just, I think most people know that, but it's worth saying.
That's predominantly Temu. I think eBay has a good return policy.
Yeah, I think eBay's more locally represented as
Yeah.
well. There's actual registered offices within countries that aren't, that may actually have some sort of legal oversight.
But yeah, Amazon is equally as bad, I'd say. In terms
there's a lot of garbage on there.
There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of fake customer reviews, and inflated things, and products that just don't match the descriptions, and it's awful. But so be careful.
They're just desperately trying to get.
Sometimes if it's too cheap, it's too good to believe. I feel like
absolutely
you should just go with your gut.
Yeah,
that's what I think anyway. Just like this sequel to
Passion of the Christ 2.
Passion of the Christ. Of course, Jim Caviezel's returning.
Who?
Jim Caviezel.
Jesus.
He's Jesus.
He was Jesus.
That's going to be
10,
Jesus.
15 years older Jesus.
Yeah.
Jim
But
Caviezel?
I think it takes some time. I'm guessing this is what's the...
Is this the resurrection?
It's got to be. But how else would there be a sequel? What happened? Okay, remind me what happens at the end of it, because it was released in 2004.
He gets crucified.
God, he didn't get hired very much after this.
He didn't, did he? Got crucified.
He got fucking crucified for
No.
that role. For that role, he got fucking
Guys,
crucified.
he keeps coming back though.
Well,
You can't
clearly.
keep a good Jesus down.
If you've seen The Life of Brian, it's
Yeah.
basically the same story.
Oh yeah.
Passion of the Christ.
Less extreme
There's
whipping
no
scenes.
song at the end. There's no song at the end, but he does get crucified.
It's no song and dance. It's just whipping and bleeding. Was it also done in? Was it like in Latin or whatever language?
Hebrew?
Hebrew.
I don't think it was. Was it?
I feel like there
Sorry,
was.
guys, I checked out for a second there. Who's
Sorry,
speaking Hebrew?
when you remember the Passion of the Christ,
Yeah.
were they speaking in
Was it all subtitled?
Latin or English?
subtitle? Was it
I think
like,
it was. Yeah, I
or was
don't
it-
think it was in English, was it?
I can't remember it all now.
I think you're right. I don't think it was in English. I don't know what language it would have been in.
Roman, Latin.
Anyway, look out for the Passion of the Christ,
Welsh.
the resurrection. It's happening, people.
The resurrection, he's back. So we predicted this in 2009 that he'd come back with guns, but
We did, and
didn't happen.
I guess that's a bit too far fetched.
Okay, so the Passion of the Christ is entirely in reconstructed Aramaic, Hebrew, and Latin. So good.
A mixture.
We were pretty fucking accurate there.
Yeah.
Only got 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, though.
Oh, well, that's good enough
It's a
for
controversial
a sequel
topic, isn't
20
it?
years later.
Yeah.
It's a controversial subject.
Well,
There's always-
Mel Minnow of the Common Sense Media said extremely violent and powerful for mature teens. 3 out of 5. Will Self. Will Self. Oh, this is Will Self.
Okay.
Will Self said, "If I believed in life eternal with access to a heavenly multiplex, I still wouldn't advise you to see this film. But as things stand, if thou goest anywhere this week, be it to see an honest piece of graven imagery, not this religious rubbish." He didn't like it. "If I was a Christian, I'd be appalled to have this primitive and pornographic bloodbath presumed to speak for me." That was Jonathan Rosenbaum, the Chicago Reader. Fucking hell.
scathing.
What was the timeline of Mel Gibson's like racist tirade?
He'd already done it at this point, I think.
Before Passion of the Christ or after?
After.
I was after, yeah.
No, it was before. I think it was before.
No, it was after.
No, because I think that was part of the he was like disgraced, wasn't it?
No, because he did Apocalypta after Passion of the Christ.
Oh.
Well, because I thought because obviously there was there was a lot of talk about the portrayal of Jewish people in Passion of the Christ.
yeah.
Hmm.
So then they were just calling him anti-Semite and stuff. From
As-
that phone call he made.
Yeah.
You know, as a person who wouldn't describe themselves as adhering particularly well to any major religion, I am slightly disappointed that some Christians didn't try and shoot him.
Who? Which one?
Mel Gibson.
Mel.
Well, you know, it's just like the other guys, if you draw stuff, they get really mad. And they made a whole terrible film about it and nothing.
Yeah.
I just think that, like, maybe we've been languishing too long. And by we, I mean, you know, us belonging to a Christian nation and not because we're the Christian Templars that are going to do it. Chris Trott's been fascinated by Templars recently. You do the math, all right? He's ready for a crusade. Look at him. Why do you think he's been dyeing his hair so fucking much?
Fucking hell.
Sorry,
he really,
I missed that.
he really fucking logically leaped into me being a Aryan. Christ.
Yeah.
He's putting
Well,
all
you're
those
trying your hardest.
red string together. Charlie Day in that room. But yeah, looking forward to the sequel.
You're looking forward to sequel there. Okay. Well, I mean, I might have to watch the first one again just to refresh myself. 20 years old. What is with this? And there's also Beetle Juice came up with a sequel as well. That's probably 30 years ago. With Michael
Beetlejuice.
Keaton.
Oh, God, Beetlejuice. Cult classic, not one I know. You guys have been
Have you
Beetlejuice
seen the first
people?
one?
I've
not
not
seen
seen
the
it.
Years ago, and I
I
find
thought
it
the first one
strange.
was quite good.
I found it odd.
Yeah, I thought it was quite unique because I thought all the stop motion stuff is super creepy and weird. And I think it worked perfectly with the vibe they're going for.
Right.
But I would never have watched that and gone, "Yep, needs a sequel."
It's got Jenna Ortega in it, hasn't
I
it?
guess sometimes
that a good
they're
thing?
running out of ideas.
Bad
No, I
thing?
think it's just an idea, lack of ideas.
I'm just
Well,
saying.
for
that-
Beetlejuice.
Well, then yeah, like why did they need to bring it back? Was anyone begging for it?
I get.
Or was it just
Writing.
sat on a pile of screenplays for like 20 years? They were like, oh, let's do this one then. Finally,
We're going through an arc at the moment, aren't we, where they're saying that like they've ran out of innovative ideas in Hollywood, and I mean, of course, there's always the outliers, but I do think like we're definitely seeing some. I don't know if this is an example of it either. I think people were really keen for this movie, and a lot of people watched it. Right, it's done really
Is it
well.
done well? Is it? Oh, good.
But I mean, like Marvel fatigue obviously is an example of what I'm talking about here, where people.
Sequelitis.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
like everything goes through
Safety.
arcs, I suppose.
But it's also that's all linked, so it like helps if you've watched like Loki and
Fucking hell.
fucking Thor and
You
everything
just
else.
go,
that goes
oh,
with
it's
it, but
linked
also-
there. That's a link.
But then, yeah, but you only know because if you watch Spider-Man at this specific time slot, they mention this. It's like, oh right, okay,
Yeah.
that's a key piece of information I needed to know. It's just like, oh, it's so interlinked that I can't be bothered.
Do you
Yeah,
think
it's a lot of
that?
effort.
Do you think that the guy who's the guy that currently plays
Interlinked.
Spider-Man? Huh?
Tom Holland.
Do you
that'd
think
be
Tom
Michael
Holland will
Keaton.
die of old age by the time they get all the Spider-Man films they want to do with him out?
Yeah,
I feel like he's not going to have a career outside of Spider-Man. I feel like he's kind of been unsuccessful.
What has
Yeah.
he done?
Do you think that
outside? Has he
Zendaya
done
and
what
him are gonna
Timothée
break up?
Chalamet has done?
He was played young Nathan Drake in Uncharted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but
And that
Uncharted,
was a
that
flop.
was- yeah, but video game films are such a roll of the dice, aren't they?
Do you think Zendaya will run off with Timothée Chalamet and then
I think
Maybe.
you're basing
He's
everything
currently with-
entirely on their
on
acting.
the movies they're in?
Timothée Chalamet.
They love each other in the movies. They got to love each other in real life.
I ship him. I'm shipping.
But I mean,
both
like
of
they
them.
are uniquely positioned to be in like one of those awkward.
It's a very
three-ways.
intimate career, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the Ron, fucking Hermione and Harry situation.
It's hard not to have
Right. Yeah,
thoughts and feelings like that. It's like you're in a sex scene. Like
yeah.
you can say to the press it's all professional and
Yeah.
whatnot, but
You'd have strings around the end of your dick in this situation.
I'd be
wouldn't you?
giggling like crazy.
Yeah,
He's going to be giggling all night long.
yeah, but not too much. Have you got like an acceptable chub string that you use?
Yeah,
That's the
it's
right
a chub
what
string.
kind of chub
Chub
string?
string.
I
is it
reached
working?
maximum diameter.
This is your film.
We
chub
got a
string.
cut.
If he goes anything over his chub string, it's becoming aroused. But he's
God.
just film ready.
Who's even testing this? He's just doing it to himself.
He's got a whole box of different strings with little
Giggling.
compartments in that he takes out.
Fuck. There's one story here which is similar to the giggling one, although it
It's
wasn't.
gonna have to be the last one, Ross.
It's just a man who denied masturbating in public in Cork town said he was sanding the handle of his paint roller,
Sure.
which I think
Sanding
is sanding
the
handle.
handle.
I feel like. Geez,
They just need to sit him down and be like, look, it's okay. You
We know
stuffed
we did.
something up your ass. Like, loads of people do it, you know, like it.
you shouldn't be doing it in public. Well, I think he was sat in his car as well.
Well,
It's
I
just
mean,
like if you're
like-
like sanding away, like.
You would do it in your car.
And I think
How the fuck did the press get hold of this man?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to know.
he's
Like,
obviously
you
been
know,
charged. He's obviously been charged with this. Is he? There's a
with what?
with indecent exposure and masturbating in public.
And they're like,
Because there was a girl saw him in a car, squinting. Oh no, she said the man was squinting and looked like he was masturbating by moving up and down. Obviously, his argument was that he was furiously sanding his paint roller.
fuck, man.
But
What?
I
okay.
think
I mean, like being
it
in
seems
public and like,
quite
I thought he was at least trying to
probably-
like be out the way. But like, if you're engaging with other people, obviously that's fucked.
I think if you're sanding your paint roller,
Yeah.
do it openly. I think that's the only advice you can possibly
Don't
give
do it
someone.
in your car. You get bits
Don't
everywhere.
do it in your car. You're going to get
Was
your
he a
seat
painter?
covered.
Was
Well,
he a
yeah,
painter?
painter decorator.
Okay. I mean, like, because you know,
So you've
carpal
got
tunnel can happen easily, so you need the perfect shape for
Painter
your,
by
your
trade.
handle.
married with 2 children. Just wanted to sand his handles. But I feel like
Did they find evidence of the sanding, or was it covered in shit and lube?
he said that he had a
Why?
new paint roller that had a
Shit.
glossy handle. He was sanding it down because it was too slippery. He told the
Right.
court that it was between his legs and that anyone looking in the window might think it was a penis.
And was his
he
dick
said,
out?
I am convinced what the young girl saw was the paint roller. Even an adult could confuse the situation. He's like, oh, don't worry, no, anyone would have got this wrong.
So he hasn't shoved the thing up his ass then.
No, it wasn't up his ass. He was vigorously fucking sanding it like this.
Have you got a paint roller down there, sir?
Yeah, I'm just sanding my paint roller.
Okay.
Why are you doing
Do you
it
want
like
to give me a
that?
minute?
What?
Are you
Why
nearly
do-
done?
Well, it's too glossy and
Are you-
slippy.
Are you nearly done?
So I'm making sure it's.
How much longer do you think you'll need?
Well, I don't know, but can you just stop talking to me? You're ruining the sanding.
I'll
It's
look
too
away.
glossy.
It's too glossy. I said it's too
Glossy.
glossy. Just get away from my windows. Get away from my car windows.
Stop
She's
looking.
gonna see. She's gonna see.
He's gonna see.
Fuck! Now she's seen. It's a handle. Look.
Look how good this handle now looks. Perfectly shaped.
Like it's so matte.
I think it's a warning to anyone.
Honestly,
who
I'd give him
is-
the benefit of the doubt.
If you are a painter decorator out
Yeah.
there and you've got glossy handles, get out of your fucking car. Do
Don't
it on the
sand
side.
it between
Sand
your
it on the side of
legs.
the road. Maybe make it very visibly obvious that what you're doing is not wanking in a car, because
You're setting yourself up for failure,
Yeah.
aren't you?
it's
You are
wild
setting
out
yourself
there.
up for a
It's
court case.
wild out there.
God help anyone who ever gets me in their jury, because I will do some goddamn mental gymnastics to try and sympathise with that person. And I'll just be like, well, maybe
he comes in the next day with a load of glossy handles.
Yeah, look how much sanding I've done. I've been
sat in the jury, sanding my handles.
I feel like it's only fair.
How dare you judge me for sanding my handles? I got a job, man.
Look how mad it is. It's really, really well braced between my thighs. Anyway, that's all we got time for.
Watch out for that.
We ain't never reaching a verdict.
No. I want to say a huge thanks to all the people jorking it, watching us or listening to us on Patreon.
Thank you.
Or any sort of subscription service. Wow, look at that. It's behind that. Which is cool.
It's fine.
There you go. And thank you for watching and supporting us financially on patreon.com/hatfilms, or maybe you're supporting us as a member on YouTube or on Twitch. Either way, come join us on Discord. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
It's discord.gg/hatfilms. Very much appreciated. Yeah. And of course, if you want to send a finger in, much like Carol did, thank you to Carol.
Big up, Carol.
Carol.
Say the name.
Surname difficult to pronounce for an English person.
Can you say it, Smith?
Pediviater. That's how
Perfect.
I'm going to say it. Thank you very much. They made an awesome Spacefuck remix. And if you want to send us a fingal of any description, send it to our email, which is hatch@hat-films.com. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And we'll be
Watch
with
your
you.
glossy handles.
Next week, we're going to be part of the Pickaxe Week.
It's on Friday.
So it's a specific time.
Yeah.
Friday at 1 p.m. If you want to catch it live, we'll see you there. Until then, don't jork it. In the car. Come on.
Only sand handles of paint rollers.
Yeah, and if you do it, just make it very obvious that's what you're doing.
It's a paint roller!
You're getting into some hot water otherwise.
Indeed. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Why is he like this? Oh, I miss you. Ever since I met you with space fuck.
Miss you ever since we parted at space fuck. And I kissed you in a hard vacuum at space fuck. No need to freeze my embryo, I just put it outside my suit. Can things exist in hard vacuum? Cause my love sure do.
Some phasers to come, cause I'm on the run, cause I didn't pay a space fuck.
You fucked and dashed.
I ejaculate, evacuate. I come and I run. Shoot my do in a scoop. Shoot my do in a scoop. I ejaculate, evacuate. I come and I run. Shoot my do in a scoop. Shoot my do in a scoop.
Some phasers to come, cause